Oh, the waste, I don't like that shit. It doesn't matter. Where everyone go? Sleep where you guys. There you go. That's fine.
Okay.
Hey guys, thank you for staying with us. We're doing Real Estate Live on News Talk 98.7. We've got a good topic today. We're talking about open houses. Do they work, and do they actually help you sell your home for more money? And tips you need to know to talk about it. So we're going to be doing that live here on a Monday, News Talk. Thank you guys for staying with us. Huh?
I got this.
You doing the show? The whole start?
I mean, I'll introduce the topic and then go into our statistics.
You want me to do the intro?
Yeah. Welcome to
I did
the
normal? Okay.
I'll introduce us.
Introduce that.
Introduce the topic.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're doing well on a Saturday, and thank you for joining us here on News Talk 98.7. You're listening to Real Estate with Ryan. I'm your host, Ryan Coleman, along with my lovely co-host, April Coleman.
Hello, everyone.
Hope you're doing well on a Saturday. Thank you for joining us. We've got a good topic today. What we're going to talk about, April?
Today we will be discussing open houses. Are they effective when selling your home, or are they not?
That's a good topic as the weather changes. We see a lot of open houses signs and good opportunity where the yard's looking the best. And so, do they work? We'll talk about that. It's a good topic today.
It is. But first we're going to go over a couple of statistics and some of our new listings and coming soon. So we just want to compare last February with this February. And the active listings from February 2017 were 7,651, but this past 2018 February was 6,541. So that's about 1,000 less homes on the market this February compared to 2017.
So you're seeing the trend, I guess, with the inventory.
So the inventory is even lower this year, so far. And the sold listings for 2017 were 1,163, and this past February was 1,195. So even though the inventory was lower, we still had more sales for February.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Yes, and so the last one is new listings. Last year at February, it was 2,043, but this year new listings are only 1,922. So we're still down from last year.
Well, I think you're going to see a big push coming on. I know our office is as busy as it can be. We've got just a lot of listings.
Yeah,
I won't mention the number on the air, but a large amount that are coming soon. And so I think as the weather changes, and it's that time of season here in a couple weeks, spring will be here. So you have to understand that a large amount of inventory. If you're looking now, keep in mind, don't be discouraged. We've got some customers now that just can't find anything. I tell them to hold tight. There's plenty of inventory that's coming on the market. You know, the next 6 months, this is where a lot of the business and market is done.
Exactly.
And so at the same time, you need to be prepared, you need to be ready, and that's why we're talking about this topic is what can we do to get your home sold for the most money and what really works in the market.
Yes.
Open houses have been around for a while. If you filed real estate for even back 40, 50 years ago, open house, and even today, if you're right around Knoxville, you'll see Sunday we've got open houses. And I guess let's talk about that and see what we can do. Does it work now with technology and everything changing, or does it not work?
Right, and NAR did a survey that showed that actually 90% of buyers started their search online, and by looking at the videos and the photos, it let them rule out which ones they wanted to visit or not visit. And that only 9% of the buyers found their home through an open house.
Oh, wow. Now, with an open house, you have to understand there's a lot of opportunity, especially if you're in a highly trafficked area and you've got a lot of drive-by traffic, I'd say. Open houses are definitely an opportunity to gain some activity and maybe potential sales. We know some sales are done that way. But let me give you our thought on it and what we're seeing and across the country, not just us. I think some of the top agents across the country. We'll talk about the open houses. We're going to talk about the pros on this topic of the break, and then we'll talk about some of the security issues after the break. We'll get into that and things you need to watch out for that if you're going to do an open house, how to do them effectively and how to do it, to minimize security and make sure you're safe while you're doing it.
Right.
So let's talk about the open house. Well, traditionally, as April said, that 90% of buyers are looking online. The landscape of marketing just in general has changed. We used to have those big books, the print media, our newspapers, things like that. Buyers have kind of gravitated away from that. You see the book shrinking, getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And so those things are not as effective for buyers. Everybody's on their smartphones, everybody's on their pads, iPads and Macs. And
it's all digital.
Yeah, and so you've got to have a presence. It's okay to have a presence in both, but we go back to the open houses where traditionally 40, 50 years ago, that was the only way to really get an idea of what the market was doing. We didn't have walkthrough videos. We didn't have house tours. We wouldn't have the access of Google, Back when I started, believe it or not, they had the big thick books.
Oh, wow.
They come around and the MLS would be in books. Yes. And the only way you could get that book is to get with a realtor. We'd come in every Saturday and people would look for that latest MLS book. Man. So that may date me a little bit, but
a little bit. Now
things changed during that time frame with it coming on the market, and so open houses, as the market changed, some of the business has not changed. So with the open house, one thing that is probably the hardest thing to predict as we talk with our customers is how do we determine where that buyer is coming from, and are they quality over quantity? And I'll get into that topic. Meaning, are these buyers that are looking at your $300,000 or $400,000 house, are they approved in that price range?
That's a big one.
Right. So are they just kind of looking and browsing, but they may not even fit in that, Sunday browsing. Nothing wrong with that. But as a seller, if you've got the home on the market, one important thing that we need to look at is feedback. And we see this very often sometimes from for sale by owners that have their home on the market, and they've got feedback that is just all over the board. And so we did an open house. The challenge with that is you really don't know if those buyers are qualified. We don't know if those buyers are really looking at homes in the $300,000 to $400,000 range. So the challenge with that is if they're not really looking at that price range, maybe they're not qualified, we're not getting the right feedback.
Right.
And the proper feedback is what we need to make any adjustments or to know whether we're right on price or we need to make an adjustments. So I think the biggest thing is we can't control who's coming in the door, and that's a big factor. Now listen, Sundays is typically the day that open houses are done. And as we're busy through the week, and still to this day, they'll do Sundays 2 to 4. We'll do open houses during that time frame. The challenge with that, and I still don't understand it to this day, that we'll do the open house on one of the slowest days of the week and expect the most results. Right. So Sundays typically where people are unwinding with their family, going to church, things like that. And so to expect a large amount of traffic on that day, although there may be some, I think is maybe not target marketing, and I think maybe could affect results.
Exactly. Yeah. And the other one, I think, is just nosy neighbors.
Yeah.
You have that one too. I actually have had several people tell me that they just go to open houses just to go look and see what the house looks like. They're not looking to buy a house. They've literally said, I just like to go around to all these open houses and maybe get ideas for my house, see what the other houses look like, and that's just a waste of time. Everybody's nosy, but for someone to put the effort in for an open house, that's just kind of
Now, my wife says that and you'll laugh, but we just had one come up in the neighborhood. And she drove by the other day, so don't think that she's not the nosy neighbor.
I am the nosy neighbor,
Right.
but I didn't go to it.
We didn't, but it happens, right? And so, and nothing wrong with that. But if we're selling, I'm being transferred to Texas, and I need to get my home sold, we got to look at all the options, and that's what we're talking about open houses today, and do they work or do they not work? But I think it's harder to get the quality of buyers in the door. We don't know who we're dealing with. We don't know if they're pre-qualified.
Right.
And we're doing it on Sunday, which is one of the slowest days of the week, right after church. And so I think traditionally, you go back to the stats of what we're seeing, we've seen that that's about a 9% return. I think you said 9%
Yes,
the stats.
9%.
But the 9% was also factored in off yard signs.
Yes, that is true.
Right. So we really don't know the real numbers regarding an open house. I've been doing this for 20 years, and open houses, I can't stand them. And let me tell you why. Hope that doesn't get me in trouble. All right. So sellers, if you want me to do an open house, we'll do one, but with great caution.
Yes.
Now listen, and I tell you why, because we're 3 or 4 hours in the property, right? And we're waiting for buyers to come for us. There's 2 ways to market a home. One, we can sit and wait for buyers to come to us and do the open house and kind of more of a passive approach. Our firm is more aggressive, and we're a firm believer to go out there and find the buyers and target market the buyers. I can, you hate to be kicked out of your home every Sunday. You've had a busy week, you're still living in the home, every Sunday you're out 2 to 4 hours, and we can't control whether it rains that day or what kind of traffic's coming through.
Right.
And then we're relying on traffic that comes through on a open house to give us feedback. So very challenging on that. And so, and sometimes it frustrates my clients. Not only does it frustrate the agents, but it frustrates the clients as well if they're not getting the feedback. You guys know you're listening to Real Estate with Ryan, and then on the other side of the break, we're going to talk about not only more about this open house, but if you're going to do one, how to be effective, security issues that you definitely want to watch if you're doing an open houses, and agents, if you're doing one, things that you have to watch out to keep your safety. Stay with us. So, what you got?
Yeah. Going to safety. Those tips.
So I want to start. Why don't you carry on some of the safety tips? And
Let's go to safety issues.
I want to finish up on that open house topic that we're talking about with the agents. Usually, why the open houses and why they're done, and with the agents and why they do them and things like that. And
let's go into tips, and then I'm going to get to the listings.
tips on what?
These 10 safety tips.
All right, let me finish up the top. Okay.
Yeah. You want me to bring us in? You bring us in and finish up that topic.
Huh?
You want to bring us in and then finish up that topic?
How do you want to do it?
Go ahead.
You want me to? I'm bringing it in?
Yeah, bring it in and just finish that topic up, and then we're going to next one.
Hey, thank you guys for staying with us on Facebook. Hope you're enjoying the show on open houses. Good topic today as the spring market comes in. And we're live in the studio. This is going to be recorded, aired on Saturday. We'll give you a sneak peek for this show this Saturday, 5 o'clock News Talk. 5 o'clock, the show will be live, but now you get a sneak peek on the show. So thank you guys for staying with us.
Here's the statistics of how many say yes and how many say no realtors.
Okay, that's fine. Born ready, baby. Thank you guys for staying with you. If you're catching in on the break, my name is Ryan Coleman, owner of Hometown Realty, along with my wife, April Coleman.
Yes.
Hope you guys are doing well. And we were talking about open houses, and we were getting into those topics. Does it work? Kind of our thoughts on the process, and we'll get into some safety tips. But really, open houses, getting into that, they're very ineffective working, at least in our standpoint across the country, and we think it's not the best use of our time. We can do a better of quality versus quantity, bring a lot more people in with our strategic marketing, that we're strategically going after a buyer in that price range that makes sense. A lot of everything's moved digitally, so everything online, a lot of prospecting things that we can do to drive a lot more quality competition versus the neighbors and things like that. And so, I'm not a fan of it. And we will do one if we have to, but it's not the most effective use of our time. We execute a plan, and I think we're able to follow that and have pretty good results. Now, some people are going to say, well, there's a lot of people in town that do it. Well, they do, and there's a lot of people that do things differently, and that's their business model. But I think, in a whole, most of the time that for sale bonders or homes that are on the market, they'll do the open house, but then when they come with the agent, the first thing we talk about is doing the initial open house. Usually, typically, agents may get mad, but typically an open house is really more for the agents to gain more prospective clients possibility. Very few people are going to walk through an open house and say, that's the home and I buy it on the spot. The numbers and the stats say so.
You see it on TV.
You see it on TV. So it's usually just a way where the agents can get there and kind of cultivate and get more leads. And that's okay, especially if it's a vacant house at that things. But just some of the things to keep in mind if you're thinking about doing an open house in the technology. With our technology now, you can walk through the home online. You don't have to leave your couch,
right?
Or your desk. So we've covered a lot of that with technology, and it's amazing how it's grown. Now we're going to talk about some safety tips. So if you're going to do one, whether you're a realtor or not, if you're a female and doing an open house, we're going to talk about some things that are a must. If you do it, how to do it effectively and do it safely.
Exactly. So we're just going to go through these 10 tips real quick. First, it is park where you cannot get blocked in. You just want to be able to go when you need to go and not have anybody else, trap you in the house. And then maybe meet some of the neighbors and introduce yourself, point your car out, even invite some of the neighbors to the open house so that they know what's going on. Advise the clients about their valuables and just kind of tell them to put it away, take it with them, mail, jewelry, prescription drugs, extra set of keys, financial statements, anything like that.
Well, that's a big one, April. We've had here locally. I know the news reported, I want to say it was last year, an open house was here locally. I can't remember which station reported it, but they did the open house and they were coming through the property and you couldn't keep them together, and they actually lost some merchandise. Some things were stolen on the open house. So that's another reason we talk about the open house, is how to corral the groups.
Right.
If multiple people are coming in, how can we keep an eye on all of them? Just security issues. Obviously, everybody's going to keep their jewelry and things out. But, just another factor of the open house, there's so many unknowns when you have so many people coming through. So
there is, because everybody can just scatter around your house and just start looking around. And one of the tips, number 4, is just be aware of everyone that comes in the house and kind of work in teams. Maybe you should bring along another agent with you, and the two of you have the open house together. And so
that's a good idea.
So that half can go one way and half can go the other, and you just walk around with them.
What's your friend? You guys were out sometime, and this is off the topic, but no, it's really not off the topic. You were out somewhere. My wife was with her, and she said, "Don't worry, honey. I got something in here if we have any problems."
Oh yes, we're going to go.
Was it Melinda?
Yes.
Yeah.
She was packing, she was ready.
Okay.
In case we had in a situation, so that might be number 11.
Hey, we don't promote that here, guys, but I mean,
you never know.
Be prepared.
Right, exactly. Be prepared is definitely on the list. Number 5, establish your escape routes. Just make sure you walk around the house and notice if you need to escape, how can you get out?
Right.
Just set up for safety, and just everywhere that you go, just make sure that you know where they can enter through the house. And then just don't bring a laptop. It can get stolen. Anything for you as an agent can get stolen by people because you can leave it.
I wanted to
around.
piggyback on that topic we talked about. Then one of the biggest things that you can do is when you come in the door, and this is male or female. You mentioned never turn your back on anybody. I want to show the home. I want to open the door. I want to walk them in. I want to keep them in front of me. Especially if you're a female, if we're showing a home, keep the door open or keep it cracked. Keep the lockbox open. These are important tips, and probably the females have more of an issue with that because there's a lot of crazies out there.
There are.
And so you have to keep in mind that. I think it's also very important, always let your other spouse know in the business that we're in. Know where you're going, what time you're showing, keep your phone by you. If you're a husband like me, I'm always checking on my wife, but you have to do that and always know what times and things like that. So those make for a safe open house. And you mentioned regarding a team, that's a good concept as well.
Right, yeah, that's a good one. And then just keep a check on your guest as they arrive. I mean, I would take their name and, how many people, and just kind of jot it down so that you can keep an eye on everybody. Like you said, never turn your back, never go into certain rooms that, walk-in closets, bathrooms, laundry rooms, they don't have an escape route. And then just close up in teams, and the opening and closings are the most dangerous time for the open house. So that's why, park your car so that you can, leave and not be trapped in.
Sure.
So that's the 10 tips. And then we can talk about, maybe some of the positives of an open house as well.
Well, I think they work. If you want to do them, you've got your own business plan. We encourage you to do it. I just think across the country, you did a survey. What was that survey regarding whether top performing agents across the country, whether they're for an open house or not?
Right. We do have the statistics. It says that 63% of agents do not recommend, this is, U.S. wide, do not recommend having open houses, and 37% do.
So there's a little bit of a disadvantage there, pro. If it works for you, just do it right. I think do it safely. But let's not judge all the feedback. If you do have the house on the market, let's not judge all the feedback from an open house, whether we have 10 showings or we have nobody. That does not mean, especially with the market change in the weather, the last thing you want to do is an open house on a Sunday when everybody's at the ball fields with their kids. I mean, the showings are going to be skewed because of that.
Right.
Most qualified buyers, if they're going to look for a property, whether they're looking at an estate, whether they're looking at a $150,000 property, they're going to schedule an appointment.
They are.
I mean, it's going to happen, whether it's with our office, with a cooperating realtor, they're going to schedule those. Those are the highest quality appointments you can get. They're taking time from their day.
Right.
They're working with another agent, or they're calling our office. They're getting pre-approved, pre-qualified. They're serious about a home. They went through the steps that they know what they need to do. That's the feedback we need, guys. That's what we need to know if they come through and have a real showing. If they walk through our property, what other homes are they looking for as well? Are they looking in just, the Hardin Valley area? Are they considering Farragut? What other homes are they looking for, and how do they rate our property?
Right.
See, that's real feedback that we need as a seller. If I'm selling my home and I'm not getting the activity, the adjustments are only going to be as good as the feedback. Just as we watch, Butch coming off the Jumbotron, right? Football, you're always going to make adjustments in the game, and there's nothing different from the real estate transaction. Sometimes we got to call a timeout and we got to get in there and say, okay, we've had 15 people come through, no offers, why?
Right.
But it starts with quality feedback, and I think the difference on the open house, not only is it ineffective and maybe be at the wrong time on a Sunday, it doesn't give us the feedback that we need. And see, I don't want to see the seller lose money by adjusting on an open house on the feedback that we had on a weekend that probably was not valid feedback.
Right.
So one of those things to think about.
It is, and it's just one of those that talk to your real estate agent, and don't judge the real estate agent if they don't prefer to have an open house. Don't solely go with one or the other. Just talk about your marketing, because you really need to dominate that online presence.
Well, this show always goes quicker than we expected. You want to run those new listings that we've got real quick?
Let's go through some new listings. I'm going to do some congrats. Wild Fern has a contract. Chestnut has a contract, so does Hawthorne, Derby Downs, and Walker Ford. And we have a lot in new coming soons, which is Dogwood Circle in Pigeon Forge, Gibbs Ferry Road in Clinton, Summit Lake Court over here in Farragut, and Analusa Way in Farragut.
Thank you guys for listening to Real Estate with Ryan. I'm Ryan Coleman, Hometown Realty. You can listen to us every Saturday, 5 o'clock News Talk 98.7. You can reach me at the office at 693-SOLD or ryancoleman.org. You guys have a great weekend.
Happy Saturday.
Thank you guys for staying with us on Facebook. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Open houses. This will air this coming week, Saturday, 5 o'clock. Hope you guys have a wonderful week and stay tuned.